So moving on, we have Crash Tag Team Racing, a game I really don't have much to say about in this intro. I was exposed to this game because my dad had bought a PS2 bundle that had Tag Team Racing along with Twinsanity and Crash Nitro Kart. So is the game worth playing? Well, let's find out. Okay, so the story goes there's some German guy named Von Clutch who owns his own theme park that is well known for its brutal races and race tracks. But the power gems that run his park have been stolen, and it's only a few hours until his park will shut down. Conveniently for him, Crash and his friends end up running into the park after being chased by Cortex. Von Clutch quickly asks Crash to help him find the power gems to save his park. And that's pretty much it. Since it's a racing game, I don't care too much about the story. If there is one, it just needs to set things up, which is exactly what this one does. There really isn't too much to say about the characters since they don't stand out too much. The ending is brief and stupid, but it didn't bother me since I didn't really care much for the story to begin with. To me, it's nothing to get all that worked up about. I do, however, like the idea of a theme park with racetracks. I don't know, it just sounds kind of fun to me. So, it's gameplay time, which is divided up between two main modes, a racing mode and a platforming mode. First, why don't we talk about the racing mode, which it too is divided up between 3 different modes. Sorry if I'm making this a bit more complicated than it really needs to be. So we have Stunt, Battle, and Regular Racing in the racing gameplay. Stunt is where you simply pull off these, well, stunts over ramps to earn points. It's just okay. There are so few arenas to do these stunts, and plus pulling off stunts is pretty lackluster. I didn't really care much for this mode. Battle, on the other hand, is far more fun. You will be paired up with another character and choose if you want to be the driver or the shooter. Then you're thrown into arena to destroy everyone else. It's super simple, but with a friend, it can actually be pretty fun and is a mode I do enjoy. Then we have racing itself, which is pretty standard for most car racing games. The tracks themselves have very simple layouts that aren't too boring to drive on, but at the same time, they don't really stand out much and feel rather bland. To mix things up though, the game has a merging ability. While driving around, you can at any time merge your vehicle with another racer's, and they can do the same to you. Once merged, one person will be driving while the other will be shooting. Both of you can use items from the item boxes scattered throughout the tracks, but these are limited compared to when you're alone. What's cool is that each character has their own unique weapon that they will use when shooting, and you can even switch between both merged racers' weapons. There are some nice weapons here, like Crunch's machine gun, Enchin's rockets, and Nina's shotgun. I do like that when playing as the shooter, you can also keep your eye out for targets to shoot at while on the tracks, which can be pretty fun. Hitting targets and destroying other racers will fill up your boost bar, so if you're constantly taking out other racers, you'll be boosting quite a lot, and getting first won't be too hard. There are other challenges you can do in these racetracks, like going through rings and time trials, but I really didn't care too much for these. Why don't we move on to the platforming gameplay, which is pretty much the story mode of the game. Here, you'll be able to play as Crash, who can explore Von Clutch's theme park. There is a central hub section that connects to all the different levels in the park. Your main objective is to find and earn power gems to restore full power to the park. To do this, you're going to need to explore each of the levels and complete races to earn these power gems. It's pretty straightforward, and to be completely honest here, it's not too hard either. Exploring these levels is kind of fun as the platforming is simple, and I do enjoy getting up to higher places and finding secrets. Crash controls well for the most part, but he is a bit floaty, and the camera isn't always very cooperative. There really isn't any penalty to dying either, as you'll simply respawn immediately where you were standing last, which at least helps makes the more annoying sections less frustrating. You can find some NPCs throughout the park who will have tasks for you to do for them, like getting so many coins or beating small challenges. By doing these, you can unlock things like alternate costumes and even stronger weapons. I don't mind this since, like I mentioned before, getting through the main game itself is rather easy. Though I do have to say, there is one particular task or challenge I'm not a huge fan of, and that would be the chicken challenge. Basically, you talk to a chicken who will have you try to find a whole bunch of chickens scattered throughout the levels in a certain amount of time. To me, the levels just weren't laid out well enough for this, and there are quite a few chickens that are kinda scattered out a bit awkwardly. I'm sure there's a pattern to these, but I just really didn't get into it, and I honestly don't know what the reward for it is either. You'll also come across these gags scattered around the park like dioramas. These are simple little cutscenes that will either show Crash being killed in different ways, or Crash messing around in the park. While some of these cutscenes are weird or just dumb, I actually do enjoy going around the park trying to find them. Maybe that has something to do with me enjoying collectathon games, so I can see why some people will find these useless, and to be fair, they really don't serve any purpose. Lastly, there are a few mini-games you can play, but most of these are really boring or suck, with the exception of one. That would be the bowling minigame, and it's alright. I will admit, I do find it fun rolling Crash into the penguins. I like the theme park look, like how the dinosaurs are robots and you can see the cardboard sets and props. The fact that most places are quite colorful helps as well, though at the same time this game isn't very visually amazing. Animations are pretty cartoony, even if you can see the models clipping from time to time, and I like the themes like the fairy tale land and the pirate themed level. I'd have to say visually my favorite part about the game is easily the carts. I know it's not much, but I do like the different looks and styles of the carts that match each of the characters. It's just fun to me. As for the music, it's not too bad. Once again, there are a few a cappella themes that can be catchy and stand out the most, while the rest of the music is just forgettable. So, in the end, would I recommend Crash Tag Team Racing? It's not a bad game, but at the same time it's not a great game either. For the most part, everything about this game is pretty mediocre. I like the idea of a racing theme park, but I don't feel like it was executed all that great here. The platforming is just alright, and racing can be fun on these very simple tracks. If you're playing with a friend for like an hour, then yeah, you can get some enjoyment out of this game, because like I said, it's not a bad game. The merging of cars is a fun idea, but it also makes racing really easy. If anything here made the game seem fun to you, then okay, I think you might enjoy the game for a couple hours. I'm sorry I really don't have too much to say about this game, but like I mentioned before, it's just a mediocre experience for me. Next time though, we'll be talking about 2 games and 1 video. See you all then.